Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Bridge.
I'm Neil. And I'm Beth. And today we're talking about something we all do every single day.
That's right, we're talking about the news. How much do you follow it? How often do you check your phone to see what's happening in the world?
We'll talk about why people read or watch the news, why it can sometimes be too much, and how following the news has changed in the digital age.
It's a great topic for learning English because we'll use lots of useful everyday expressions and vocabulary.
So get comfortable, listen along, and let's explore how we all follow the news here on English Bridge.
Today, we're talking about something that most of us do, sometimes without even thinking about it, and that's following the news.
Neil. The news, yes, something we all love, hate, and sometimes avoid. But before we dive in, maybe we should explain what follow the news actually means.
Good idea. When we say follow the news, we mean that someone is interested in current events and keeps up with them regularly. So you might read articles online, watch television, listen to the radio, or check your phone for updates.
Exactly. It means you like to know what's happening in the world. Not just once in a while, but pretty often.
And you can follow other things too, not only news. For example, people follow sports all the time.
Right. I follow football, or soccer if you prefer. I like to check the scores, see who's winning, and read about the matches. So, in the same way, when we say we follow the news, we're checking in to see what's going on in the world.
That's a great comparison. So, Neil, do you follow the news?
I do, yes. In fact, I think it's difficult not to follow the news these days. The first thing I do in the morning, even before breakfast, I admit, is check my phone. I open a news app just to see if anything big happened overnight.
You're not alone. I think a lot of people do the same thing.
And then throughout the day, I check a few times. Maybe during lunch or when I'm waiting for a train. So, yes, I definitely follow the news. What about you, Beth?
I'm quite similar, actually. I get notifications on my phone all day long, little messages from news apps. Sometimes it's useful because I can stay informed, but sometimes it's a bit too much.
Too much news, yes, that's a real thing.
Exactly. When I'm trying to focus on work, my phone keeps buzzing with new headlines. It can be distracting and sometimes even stressful.
I know what you mean. You start reading one article, then another, and suddenly you've spent half an hour scrolling through stories about politics, disasters, and celebrity gossip.
And most of it isn't exactly happy news, is it?
No, not usually. A lot of the news we read is negative, bad things happening around the world.
That's true. And if you read too much bad news, it can make you feel sad or worried, even though those things aren't happening to you personally.
So why do we do it? Why do we keep reading and checking, even when it makes us feel bad sometimes?
That's such a good question. I think part of it is habit, something we do automatically. It's also a little addictive. We want to know what's happening, even if it's not good news.
Yes, there's this feeling of needing to stay informed, to feel like we understand what's going on in the world, even if, honestly, we have no control over it.
Exactly. Sometimes I think people read the news not only for information, but also for connection. We want to be part of the conversation, to have something to talk about with other people.
That's true. And yet sometimes, even after reading a lot of news, you still feel like you don't know enough.
Oh, completely. There's just so much information out there. Thousands of websites, newspapers, social media accounts. It's impossible to read everything, and sometimes you're not even sure what's true.
Yes, that's another issue. Fake news, biased news, or stories that are exaggerated. It can be really confusing.
Definitely. And sometimes you can read two different articles about the same event, and they tell the story in totally different ways.
That's why I try to check a few reliable sources, like the English Bridge, of course.
Naturally. Speaking of that, do you think working for the English Bridge has changed your relationship with the news?
That's a great question. Actually, I used to be a journalist at the English Bridge. I worked directly with the news. So back then, I followed every single story, all day, every day.
Wow, that must have been intense.
It was. I had to know everything that was happening politics, sports, world events, and I followed it constantly. But now, because I make English learning programs instead of news reports, I follow the news less closely.
Maybe that's a good thing. A bit more balance, right?
Absolutely. Too much news can be overwhelming. Sometimes it's healthy to take a break and focus on other things.
I agree. For me, working at the BBC has made me more curious about the world. Before, I used to follow only the topics I liked, maybe entertainment or travel. But now, I pay more attention to politics, science, and even economics.
That's great. It's funny how our jobs can change our habits.
Yes. And the more I learn, the more I realize how complex everything is. You read one headline and think you understand it, but when you look deeper, there's always more to the story.
True. And that's why following the news can actually be a good way to improve your English, too.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. Reading or listening to the news exposes you to real English, formal words, idioms, and natural expressions.
Plus, it helps you understand context. You can hear how people use English to talk about real life topics.
I tell my students that even if they only read one article a day, it's useful. It keeps your language skills active and your brain engaged.
Yes, but maybe one article is enough.
Laughs. True. Speaking of which, let's talk about that word. Enough.
Yes, time for a bit of vocabulary review.
So, enough means as much as is needed. Not too much, not too little. For example, I read enough news to stay informed.
Exactly. And another word we used was too, as in too much news. That means more than is needed or more than is good.
Right. For example, I read too much news and it makes me stressed.
And then we had already, which means before now. You might say, before I joined the English bridge, I already followed a lot of news.
Perfect example. And of course, our main expression of the day, follow the news, meaning to be interested in and regularly check what's happening in the world.
Brilliant. You know, Beth, I think it's funny that we're talking about the news, but the real news here is that this is the first episode of our series.
Oh, yes, that's good news.
So keep learning, keep listening, and maybe follow the news, but not too much.
Wise words, Neil. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.